Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build at Home. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and I'm coming to you from my home, as is, I believe, our next guest. We'll find out in a second. Before we get started and jump in, just a quick mention at the top here is really important. There's a lot of stuff going on. I get it. It's very easy for important things to get lost in the noise, but millions of children are losing the healthy meals that they depend on as the coronavirus closes schools nationwide. NoKidHungry.org has a plan to feed them, which is awesome, but we need your help. I just took a look at the site. We're at over 404 million meals have been lost. So if you're watching this and just happen to be a person that's in a position to give a little bit back, take a look at nokidhungry.org and see if you can help buy a couple of kids some lunch. Cool. Thank you very much for that. Now, on with the show. Our next guest, you recognize him from Grace and Frankie or One Life to Live. You may have caught him recently in Hulu's Into the Dark, and you can see him this weekend starring in the new romantic comedy Almost Love, which drops on VOD and digital Friday, April 3rd. Please, wherever you are, make some noise and celebrate because we're here with the great Scott Evans. Scott, how you doing, man?
Make some noise alone.
Alone. Why should we cease making noise even though we're in isolation?
We should all be screaming a little bit, maybe into a pillow or something.
Exactly. I'm in a constant state of screaming. So I think we should just all do that together, right?
Yeah,
now.
I mean, why not?
Scott, thanks so much for taking some time and hanging out with us here today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. And congrats on this film. How are you doing? How is quarantine life treating you? How are you holding up? What have you been up to?
You know, things are okay. Things are good. I mean, I think I really have there's nothing I can complain about just because, even with your opening right there, it's like I'm getting breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it's like, it's hard to complain. It's easy to try to help and try to share the word and the people that are doing the good help. And, it's better. It's important to stay informed, I guess, while we're away from everybody. And it's very easy to stay informed. So
for sure. For sure. I was looking at your social media. It looked as though you injured your leg or something. What happened?
Oh my God. I was like,
what did you do?
Adjusting my seat because I was like sitting on it. I wish I had some interesting story. I wish
no one was there.
40 miles an hour. I was rollerblading. I wasn't even moving. I was like standing in the driveway, just kind of waiting. Something happened where I lost. I'm a very good rollerblader too, but this is a bummer. But I went down. I got a nice bruise forming on my elbow. No. I went down on my back, and my left rollerblade just hit my shin like directly on, and it was a giant contusion. But it's gone down a little bit now. It's still a little painful.
I'm happy to hear that. It's always such like a coin flip. Like I want to stay active. I want to be healthy. I want to go for a bike ride. But there's also like, I don't know. What if something happens? What am I going to do? Like,
if I had broken my bone, it's just, that's not what the hospitals need right now. They're busy. They're busy.
Precisely. How's the pooch doing? How's the dog?
The dog is great. The dog is. I can't imagine if I flew back to Massachusetts to be with my family and kind of ride this out with them back a couple weeks ago. I just kind of assumed that I think this was gonna be something bigger than it was being made out to be, and so I left LA and I'm back. Staying at my brother's house with his dog, and I can't imagine if I didn't have an animal. Just an animal that has no idea what's going on and is still there and is still in a good mood every day and wants to sit with you and
totally stoked that you're around all the time. Loves it.
Oh, dogs are winning in this equation. The dogs,
exactly.
I've heard a couple of friends tell stories though about like their dogs are starting to get like a little worried, and they're getting they're always next to them because they know something's up. They're like, why are you here all the time? Also
100%,
so I can have some alone time.
Yeah, exactly. I used to do stuff during the day when you went to work, man.
Yeah, he's like, I need some relaxation.
Yeah, for sure. So that's why I was trying to figure that out. The haircut, the famous haircut now that you gave yourself.
It's so silly.
It blew up, man. It went crazy.
Well, it blew up, and like now it's becoming, and I did it very early on in the quarantine process.
Yeah,
and now like everybody is just like, whatever you do, don't shave your head. I know it's a dark time, making jokes about it. I'm just like, all right, everybody calm down.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be a giant thing, but it was like, it's funny because like I did it myself, and then I had my brother pick up a couple spots.
Shaped it up.
And then of course people saw the video, and it's like, is there anything Captain America can't do? He cuts hair.
Of course it'd be about that.
Oh, of course it is. Of course.
Did you return the favor? Did you cut Chris's hair as well, or no? He's good.
He had done it that morning, and he was like, you do yours. I was like, no, absolutely not. And then, as the news cycle progressed, it was sort of like, I'm not going anywhere for a while. So
yeah.
Let's cut it. But then this morning, I tried to give myself a little trim on the sides, and
hence the hat. Okay.
I used the wrong length, and so it's a little short on the side.
Oh no, it looks great. I could never. I wish I could. I could never. I have a. I believe. I mean, I've never shaved it, so I don't know. But I believe this to be true of myself. I believe I have an odd shaped head, so I don't think
I
I could do
always
the
thought that
buzz.
too, and my brother is convinced I don't. So now I'm like, am I a shaved head guy? Who knows? I mean, the back, I can't see what I'm doing in the back, so it's going to be like
It's
a
full
ball.
length in the back.
Oh yeah, it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
fully Joe Exotic at the
On
end.
its way. Oh my gosh. What a style icon to emulate right now.
I mean, it's one to emulate for sure.
Style and only style shall we emulate from Joe
Yeah.
Exotic. Everything else he could have. Let me ask you this. I saw before we get into the movie, because I do want to talk about the film that you did, which is fantastic. But before we get to that, speaking of films, and we've been asking everybody what they're watching. I saw you had like a little mini film fest with your brother. You watched Fast Forward. Again, this was weeks ago. What have you been watching since? What have you been doing to keep yourself?
We made a every time we think of a movie from our childhood, we'll put it on our movie quarantine list, and we've been kind of checking them off as we go. And we started, it's been a lot of animated, but we did Rescuers Down Under the other night, which was fantastic. And then we got into Oliver and Company, and then we watched what was the American Tail? And American Tail is
a lot of people sleep on American Tail, but it's amazing.
Incredible movie. And so it was Don Bluth. And so then we just got into Land Before Time and Rockadoodle. And so
All Dogs Go to Heaven, my personal
All Dogs
favorite.
Go to Heaven, Secret of Nim. Those are all on the list.
Yeah, of course. Good list to have.
Oh yeah.
Well, speaking of movies that make people feel good, I know it's like it feels weird talking about stuff and promoting things for a lot of people right now, but genuinely, I watched this movie and it really, I really dug it, and I think it's a great movie for right now. It is kind of a feel good movie. I'm talking about Almost Love, and I'm really excited for it to come out and for people to see it for you, man. How did you get involved with Almost Love? How did this become a project on your radar?
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. That's fantastic. This was summer, or like I guess May, June of 2018. I got the script. My manager was like, "They want you to put your stuff on tape for this," and I read it. And I remember reading the script and sort of seeing, a lead gay character, just being like, "Oh, this seems kind of normal. Why does this seem so normal to me?" And I don't read scripts like this every day, so it was very exciting to, for one, just to see that, and for two, the fact that I could potentially be a part of it. And so I ended up self-taping, and then I Skyped with Mike Doyle, our director, and ended up getting it. And we went to New York and shot it in, I think, 19 days. And it was really hot. And a lot of the times we didn't have AC, so I was very sweaty. But aside from that, it was such a great thing to be part of. And the cast was just, it was like a dream cast. All those people that, like, some of them I didn't even know before. And now it's like upset.
Yeah. No, for sure. It looks like one of those casts that like you guys were having fun while making it, kind of.
Oh yeah, you had
to.
And if not, we would have died from the heat.
Yeah. One of the things I thought was really interesting about it is I think so many romantic comedies, you see the meet cute and the relationship grow and blossom over time. This one, for you guys, at least your relationship, we enter it like 5 years deep. And that's such an interesting time. There's so much history and baggage and so much that comes along with being 5 years deep into a relationship. How did you and Augustus kind of prepare for that and find that so that you could walk into this world and be someplace that's existed for 5 years prior off screen?
Yeah, well, and I didn't know Augie at all going into it. And I think we met for one day before we started to rehearse, because it was all kind of compacted, and, it was low budget and a short time frame to shoot it. So it was kind of like we had to fall into it. And I think one of the things that really, I think, helped with that is the fact that we are both gay actors, and so the comfort level was instantly there, and we were able, we knew a lot of people in common too, and so I think one of the first days was like one of our more romantic scenes, and it was sort of just it kind of just clicked right away for us, which I think was really, really nice. And you don't get to, like you said, the movie kind of starts with them at their 5-year mark in the relationship where everything has happened. You don't watch this couple progress. You kind of got to be at that point. And I think the writing kind of spoke for itself in the scenes that we kind of started with before we had to get too comfortable with each other. Mike kind of gave us that in the beginning.
This, and you said you didn't know Augustus. I don't know if I know him well enough to call him Augie, but I would love to be able to.
You can.
Okay, great. So you met Augie on this production. So I assume that means you guys did this first, because the two of you are also together in the thing on Hulu.
Yes.
Midnight Kiss.
Yeah.
So so that happened after the fact then. This was first.
We shot Almost Love summer 2018, and then last summer 2019 we both got cast in this, and so now we make a joke. It's like our summer thing. We're gonna play off each other. Although the latest thing was a little more murdery than Almost Love.
I was gonna say completely different tone. But what a fun summer camp to keep going back to. What was that like to work with Augie again, but in this completely different environment, different
Well, it
time,
was
different
funny
project? Yeah.
because when I found out that I got Midnight Kiss, they were saying that there were some offers out to other people to play like the part opposite me, and I was like, well, who is it? And they were like,
Yeah.
well, they had also said they wanted to cast out actors, and they said you've I can't say who, but like you've worked with them before. And so I went through like my whole like list. I was like, who have I worked with? Who could it be?
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's gonna be Augie. It's gonna be Augie. And so I texted him. I was just like, hey, are you going in for? He's like, yeah, I'm pinned for it right now. I was like, I knew it, you motherfucker. Ooh, language.
No, it's the internet. You can say anything.
All right, sweet.
I think it's the least of anyone's concerns right now.
Yeah, hopefully.
There's a really funny and like kind of cute moment where Adam like pretends to be flying in a doorway, so like to get Marklin to pay attention to him. And I was curious, was that silly thing like written in the script, or was that like a thing you've done before? Like, where did that little moment come from?
You know what's funny is it was written in the script, but I remember first reading the script, second reading the script, even going into the day reading the script. I didn't really understand what it was describing. I was like on the chair fake, and then when we got into the room the day, Mike kind of showed me, and I was like, oh, it was only supposed to be flying, but then I started waving, and we started having fun with it. But I remember when I first read it, I was like, I don't know what that means, but it sounds cute.
Yeah, I hope it's not a weird move.
Yeah, it's very strange, but Mike was like, it's like their thing. I was like, is this true to life, Mike?
I was gonna say, did Mike used to do this?
I don't know. If he did, then he's got to get new material.
Were there little things that working with Augie that you guys kind of found together, like little things like similar to that you would sort of pepper in throughout it, or was like 99% of it there for you on the page?
I mean, a lot of it was on the page. I think the more important aspect of it was finding that connection and that relationship. And I think it's so funny because the way Augie and I are in real life, it kind of like would come across like we never really butted heads, but we had two very different ways of going about doing things. And I think in doing that, it showed up in the scenes and it worked for their relationship, which I thought ended up being very nice. But I'm very much type A Virgo. I like having my lines. I like to play and everything, but Augie loves to just, play around and do whatever. And I think,
just have fun with it.
Well, and having that balance out, I think it balanced out in a nice way.
Yeah, for sure. We mentioned Mike just a moment ago. This is his directorial debut. What was it like working with him for his first film?
Oh my God, Mike! It was incredible. This was my first time ever being what number one, as they call it, like on the call sheet in the morning.
Set the tone.
And I remember not knowing like what a big deal this was. And one of my first phone conversations with Mike, he was like, "So yeah, number one gets to New York tomorrow." And I was like, "Huh, number one." And I was like, that's right. And then I'm looking at like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's like Augie and Kate Walsh and Michelle Buteau and Zoe Chow and Colin Donnell and Patty Clarkson. And I was like, I should not be the number one for these 2 through 10. How did this happen? And so having Mike there, he knew that. And he, not like held my hand in he guided me through it. But like literally he held my hand. And any questions I had, there was nothing that was, out of the realm of a possibility of a question. And he helped me with everything. And he knew exactly what to say. And him being an actor himself, I think translates always so well to a director because they know what to say. They know what to do. They know what you need, what you don't need. And he really made the whole experience incredible for me. Yeah,
I had read, I forget where it was, but I saw you talk specifically. I think it was the day that you had to shoot the scene with Adam's father. You said that Mike was amazing and instrumental in helping you get where you needed to be. And I was curious, was it his approach that resonated with you? Was it something he said? Was it just his energy? Like, what was it?
I think he sensed in me. I have some very personal connections to that scene, in particular to a relationship with a father figure. Yeah. And I think that day I was getting a lot inside my head, and it ended up me just being, I was a little fidgety and a little doing too much and like thinking too much, and I was getting inside my head. And I remember he just kind of came in and just leveled with me, and he was like, I promise. He was like, just say the words, just look right at him and just be in the scene. And I think he told me one take, he's like, try not to blink for this entire take. And I think doing that take, it was sort of like focusing on that took away all my other shit. And just being able to connect with the scene was sort of like, okay, now we can do this. And I think that particular day, he really just knew exactly what, needed to happen for me and for the scene.
For sure. I gotta let you go in just a second because we're
Okay.
coming to the end here. But I wanted to ask, anytime I have an opportunity to speak with someone who's had some time working on a soap opera, I always ask them about it because the universal thing that I've heard is like for a lot of actors, it's like boot camp where you're drilling and you learn so much. And I'm curious, you over 130 some odd episodes on One Life to Live. I know this was like a decade and change ago,
Yeah.
but like just was there anything that you learned that all those years ago that like has stuck with you to this day, something that you've carried with you as an actor as you've moved from project to project?
I will say when people say the whole like boot camp thing, what it is, it's a really good lesson in how to come prepared, because most times you're going to get one take to do it. And if you don't do the lines right, or if you do get the lines right, but you don't do the scene right, they're going to say, cut, we're moving on, because they got to produce 5 episodes a week, 5-hour long week. And so going into a day with, some days it'd be like 30 pages of dialogue. You just got to go in with your shit memorized and prepared to work for that day, because it moves pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no room for, yeah. That's what I hear. It's like, there's no room to be precious about any of it. You have to make decisions, stick to them, believe in them, and keep going.
Correct.
Which is pretty wild. Dude, congratulations on this awesome film that is coming out this Friday, April 3rd, VOD and digital, Almost Love. People should check it out for sure. Add it to their list of quarantine viewing. And thank you for hanging out with us and being here today and taking some time to do this weird thing that we're all pretending is normal now.
I mean, this is it.
This is it. At the end of the day, I'm just so happy that you're doing well and you're healthy. Rollerblade incident aside, and the pooch is good and the family's good. Continue to stay safe, stay where you are, and keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you so much. Good luck on future haircuts. And
I'm sure there'll be a few more.
I believe it, man. Next time we do this, let's do it in person. Come to New York and see us. All right. Thanks so much, man. Scott Evans, everybody.